in this code example, we're going to combine the array traversal with some of the string methods that we looked at in the last chapter. And what we're going to do is take a section from Martin Luther King's famous 1963 I Have a Dream speech. And we're going to write a little bit of code to count up the number of times that he uses dream after the first occurrence. So I've taken about 100 words out of the speech when he first goes into the part where he's talking about his dream. And that's what we've saved into this text variable. So the first thing we're going to do is split that into words using the split function of strings. So let's create a new variable for that, words. And we're going to call text.split. And the argument to split is the substring or the matching pattern that we want to split the text on. So we could do it on just a plain space character, but then we wouldn't, the way that I wrote this, I put new lines in so it doesn't all flow together and it makes it easier to read. We wouldn't get the new lines. And if there were tabs and things, we wouldn't get it. So we're going to use a simple regular expression pattern that splits on any white space, and that is \s. So the / lets JavaScript know that we're going to create a regular expression pattern, or a regex, and then the pattern we're using is a very simple one, which is this /s, which is any white space character. All right. So once we do this, we're going to have an array of strings, and if we want to see what that looks like, we can just do words, and here are all of the words from the text as individual elements of the array. Now you can see that we're not removing punctuation, and we're not lowercasing it the way that we did in our previous examples in strings, but for this short example, this is going to be good enough. Now the next thing we do is we want to iterate through words and count the number of times we find dream. So for that, we're going to need a for loop. For all right, and this for loop header is the basic for loop for iterating through an array. We start at 0, which is the first element in the array, the 0th element. And then we keep going until we reach less than the end, and we count up by 1. All right, so we're going to increment it by 1. So for each word in this array over here, we're going to have a value of I. Now, to make a count, we're going to use that counter pattern that we've been looking at. So first we initialize the counter to 0. And then in here, we're going to do a test to increment the counter if we find dream. So we're going to say if, and then the current word is going to be words at position I. And we'll say includes dream. So this will give us dream even if there's a comma after it, or like this one here, you see that instance of dream has a period at the end of it. And if they said dreams or dreaming, so some of those things would also get picked up, which in this case is a good thing. That way we don't need to do additional cleaning of our text, and we don't need to find all the different word endings of dream. So for now, it's good enough. We're going to see if the word at position I, element I of words, includes the string dream. If that's the case, we increment our counter using the ++. And then at the end, let's just print out a simple message. We'll say, and we're going to do this as a template string. So we'll say console.log the text, and we'll say the speech has, and now we're going to use the special syntax to include a JavaScript expression inside of our string, and we'll say words.length words. And because it's a template string, we can go to a new line. So the speech has 100 words or something like that. And then we'll say, we found dream counter times. Okay, I'll put a semicolon. Let's run this and see what we get in the analysis. All right, the speech has 103 words. We found Dre 5 times. Obviously, we want that to be dream. Let's fix that up. And let's just go through this again. So first we have a variable that is a string, and it's 103 words of a string. Next, we split that string into an array of strings called words, and we split it on a regular expression pattern. To get ready to count the times we find dream, we initialize the counter to 0, and then we do a basic for loop to traverse through the words array. We start at 0 and we go up to less than words.length, because the last element in the array is going to be length minus 1. We increase by 1 because we want to iterate through every element in the words array. For each word in words, we see if it includes a substring dream. If it does, we increment our counter. To finish up this little program, at the end, we use console.log with the template string, where we substitute variables, words.length, and the counter in our message. And we're just going to run it with the better message. And we'll zoom in over here. All right, the speech has 103 words. We found dream 5 times.